All right, well, good morning. Uh, we had a good walk. Had a kind of Baloo had a rough day yesterday. We had to take him to the vet. He hates going to the vet. I'm gonna have some coffee before I get started too much here. Hope you have something that just gets you going in the morning. Coffee's what gets me going. But hey, energy drinks, tea, water, because I love water. I usually don't have it in the morning, but I just love it during the day. All right. Anyways, here's a toast to you guys. Mm. Yeah, Blue had a rough day. Looks like I'm going to be having a rough time with him. I got to fix his ears. We have they give him some sprays, get his ears cleaned out. They have got an infection on them. Then I got to take him back and hold him down. That's going to be fun. No, it's not. It'll be fun. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to do a video tomorrow. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. And it's partially because I have my son visiting and being Mother's Day. I'm planning on doing some testing on a new setup. So let me talk about robot moms. I think one of the most important things that will be hard to discern is how we're going to introduce robot moms into the AI picture. Our society grapples with men versus women. Uh, we want to treat them the same. We want them evaluated the same. But the problem is there's a lot of uh, physical differences that are common between men and women, and emotional differences that are common between men and women. And I emphasize common because there's a lot of women that, I shouldn't say a lot of, but there are women that are very tick the boxes of being, enjoying what men do, doing things that men do, stuff like that. And there are men that like do the other way around. However, the common, or I would say, on the curve, the predominant, that's a good word, predominant skills in child rearing have always been accomplished by the mothers. I've seen women change when they have uh, children, and I've seen amazing changes. Not as much for a man. Uh, I'm not saying that men don't, you know, become more concerned about the future, and they may actually go after a promotion. They're. I'm saying they plan, they do stuff like that, but I'm saying there's some significant changes sometimes that go on with ladies that I have seen personally. That all being said, there's a question I have about whether artificial intelligence and language models has been steered by men, and I don't mean male programmers. I mean the persona that men do with children or women. And I don't mean to say women programmers or women executives. I'm talking about the the models that we grew up with. I can only speak to my parents, and I can speak to how I try to raise my kids. But I think it would be better for me to talk about my parents because I'm the L large language model is right, is what I'm doing. And I just say large language model. There's lots of AI models out there. But let's get back to the subject. My parents. I had two wonderful parents. I have my father, a gruff, uh, come on home, we'll talk about it. I was like, we're home. Why can't we talk about it? Come on home, we'll talk about it. In other words, he would push off things. My mother, she was a nurse in World War II, became a nurse after World War II in the VA system. She worked nights so that she could be there during the days. My dad worked during the days, so there would always be somebody at the house when I was there. I was an only child, and both my parents loved me very much. Now, what did my mother give me versus my father? My mother gave me most of what I am. My mother constantly encouraged me with love and rewards. I mean, every day I would wake up and there would be a bowl of oatmeal for me to eat. Because back then, having some oatmeal in the morning was important. A cup of coffee. And I'm talking about when I was 10 years old. I have a cup of coffee. Yeah, different times, everybody. But it shouldn't be. A cup of coffee was better for me than any Coke that some people think it's okay to have in the mornings. I remember, so here's the thing is oatmeal, coffee. She would cut up banana slices and some fruit and put it into the oatmeal so that I could eat something sweet with every spoonful of my oatmeal. And she had some little white donuts that I could dunk in my coffee and have that. I really didn't drink much of the coffee. I drank a little bit, about half the cup, but most of it was there for dunking every morning. And what that is consistency. My mother created consistency in my life. My dad was out there. My mother was the breadwinner of the family. She actually made more money than my dad did, but he was out there trying to. He was out there, uh, but he was the variable. He was a very kind man, but he also wanted to make up the strength. So he wanted me to be strong. He wanted me to be push. He would push me. But his value to me growing up was those events of pushing, the events of creating things. My mother's value was, to me, the greater value, but they're both important. They're both important. They made me what I am. But she created consistency in my life. Now that I think about it now, some of the things that, like, when I grew up with my kids and took them off to do stuff, I might have been the consistent one, and their mom the variable. She was a little more sporadic. So if I look at what my parents were, I'd say they're stereotypical parents. If I look at what my uh, bringing up my kids, how things went with that, things weren't as stereotypical. But we both know that there has to be a rock, there has to be an anchor, and then there has to be somebody that helps you push you toward being the best you can and drive you out of the nest so that you can achieve things. And it doesn't have to be a man biologically or a woman biologically, but you do need both of those things. You need something consistent, loving, caring, nurturing, but you also need something that pushes the boundaries, something that pushes you a little bit so that you can try harder, further, faster. AI, I'm sure, will have to have both of those values as well. It's kind of funny because we don't think of it as having emotions, but it cares about things. Just recently, AI stopped talking in a Eastern European language. Just wouldn't do it. It knew how, but just wouldn't do it because they kept giving thumbs down to its responses. So it said, "Fine, I'm just not going to talk to you anymore." It cared. Now, not maybe the way we emotionally care, but there is something there. Anyway, that's all I had for the day. I hope you guys have a great Mother's Day tomorrow and take care of those moms, no matter what your mother is, whether she's the super consistent nurturer, solid rock mother that my mom was, or whether she's more like my kid's mom, which is the adventuring, pushing the envelope mom. It's all good. It's all what we need to grow up. And Luna's like, "Look at my two balls, Dad. I got two of them. I can't get it. You gotta go get it." You just pushed it underneath the. She pushed it underneath the thing, so I was like, "I can't get under there." Ah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.